noble homes to frighten the families and make off with their precious heirlooms. Slowly approaching the stream, wider than she thought it would be, Evie marveled at the beauty of the sun coming in through the gaps in the trees, giving the flowers bordering it an ethereal glow. For a moment, she almost forgot about her predicament. It was so breathtaking a view. But then, it all came rushing back. Her father still didn't know she'd lost her job at the blacksmith last month. She'd been so sure she could find something else before her family noticed that the table was a little sparser at dinner, or that their small cottage was colder for lack of firewood. She'd have to tell him tonight, though. They were down to their last meager food stores. With a heavy sigh, she knelt down along the edges of the stream, her knees sinking into the spongy moss. She ran her hands through the clear blue water, then splashed some of the cool liquid against her face and neck, hoping to calm her racing heart. She was in trouble this time, and not from some mythical villain. No, she'd done this to herself. The worst of it was that she'd nearly had a good position handed to her. At the fair this morning, she'd been offered the sole new maid posting for a noble family on an estate not far from her village. It wasn't ideal because of the distance, but she'd been ready to take it happily. Until, of course, she'd turned to see another woman standing beside her with such hope in her smile-lined eyes that Evie's heart had constricted in her chest. More so when she'd seen 3 young children standing behind the woman. Evie had handed her the certificate of employment and watched her face light up as she grabbed Evie and kissed her on both cheeks. I did the right thing. So why do I feel like my chest is going to cave in? Sighing and splashing another bit of red water against her face, she began to list the other upcoming job fairs. Perhaps she could travel to one of the neighboring villa. Wait, red! Gasping and edging backward into the flowers, Evie felt her eyes widen in horror at the once clear blue water now clouded with a deep crimson color. Blood! She shut her eyes and tried to steady her breathing. After counting to 10, she got to her feet, nearly tripping over the hem of her long dress, and inched slowly toward the water again. It was clear to see the blood was coming from farther up the stream. She took a step in that direction, inching one leather boot in front of the other, wholly unprepared for what she might find. The stream was beginning to resemble a river of blood the farther she walked up it, the opaque red engulfing any remaining blue. It had to have been an injured animal, a large one, if the amount of blood was any sort of indication. Certainly not something that warranted Evie's personal investigation. And yet, here she was, in the forest that was suddenly getting darker as the sun began its descent behind the trees, following a river of blood. Shaking her head, she felt plants getting crushed under her feet as she grinded to a halt. She was going to turn around. In fact, her body had been halfway turned when she spotted a beast with black fur hunched over and slightly hidden among the tall grass surrounding the stream and a giant tree. Whatever manner of creature it was, the thing was alive. Groans and muffled sounds of pain were coming from its general direction. Evie crouched, gently lifting her skirts to reach the small blade she kept in a sheath around her ankle for emergencies. She'd put the poor beast out of its misery. Showing it that much kindness was hardly a burden. But the closer she inched, the less it looked like a creature at all. It almost looked like a human hand whipped out from beneath the black fur, which she now realized wasn't fur at all, but a dark cloak. The hand circled around one of her wrists, pulling her down beside it.